I've fished with these techniques all over the United States where there's channel catfish and caught them fishing exactly this way, up in this flooded timber, flooded willow trees, just any kind of heavy cover. They're gonna be in there. And look at this. What is up, everybody? So this video is actually footage from a TV show that I filmed, Let's Fish, on Fox Sports. Airs on Fox Sports Southeast, Southwest, and East, I think. I don't know, a bunch of Fox Sports channels. And it is jam-packed with some red-hot summer channel catfish action, catching a channel catfish on every cast. Really some awesome fishing, so check it out. So I've just pulled up in these flooded willow trees. It's really, really shallow here. It's about 2 feet, inch or foot and a half, somewhere around there. It kind of varies depending on where you are. And I'm fishing up around these flooded trees. When water is high like this and you've got 1, 2, 3 feet of water up around these flooded willow trees like this, they hold all sorts of insects, usually have a lot of roosting birds around them. Just kind of a haven for a good food source for channel catfish and some blue catfish too at times, but this time of year I'm expecting to catch channel catfish. And they also, you know, it provides real good cover for them. They can get up around this timber and everything and feel safe. And it also provides a lot of shade as well. It's pretty hot outside today. It's almost up to 90 right now and the sun's just, there we go. That didn't take long at all. Did not take long at all. That's a lot of fun too. A lot of fun. We have here in Texas, we have a ton of channel catfish, but they don't get real big here in most of our lakes. There are a handful of lakes that have some pretty good sized channel catfish, but it's not like, you know, some parts of the country where you'll go where, you know, 10 and 15 pound channel catfish are really common. But these fish like this, you can catch these all day long. When you really find them and they're really biting good, it's nothing to catch 100, 150 fish in the morning. Sometimes these fish, when you're up in this really tight cover like this, they can be really sensitive to, there we go, to location. And you have to really fish. That's a good channel catfish. You have to really fish thoroughly, where a lot of people, they think about catfishing and, you know, they think about just throwing a bait out there in the water and waiting for a catfish to come along. But that's not how this kind of fishing is. Get it back out there. See if I can hook another one. So when I was talking about precision fishing, a lot of people think about catfishing. They think about just throwing a bait out there in the water and just waiting for old catfish to come along and grab the bait. And when you're fishing like this, up in this heavy cover, and just fishing for channel catfish in general, my experience has been, there's a lot of times where you just throw the bait in the water and they come along and they'll bite. But there's a lot of times where you have to be really precise. You have to fish really thorough. It's almost like bass fishing where, you know, you're trying to cover the structure, you're trying to cover the timber, the docks, whatever you're fishing, and being really thorough, where you may pull in and throw in a general area and not get bit, but then you may move over and get, you know, right up by the base of the tree or over to a side or something and immediately get bit. And a lot of times when you see that, you'll find that you get bit in that same area almost every time. See if that makes any difference. One thing somebody told me early on when I started catfishing, that when you're fishing for channel catfish, the hardest part is catching the first one. And once you catch that first one, usually if you can find one or two, you're going to find a whole bunch more. And you can get them in there and can get them to biting. And once you find that first one, it kind of helps to establish a pattern and, you know, figure out where those fish are. There we go. There's another one. There's another one. That's not quite as good as that last one that I caught, but it's still a good eating fish. See if I can get him from stabbing me there. Still a good eating fish. Let me get the hook out of him real quick. See there, bread and butter catfish. A lot of fun on this light tackle. So let me show you real quick how I've got this rigged here. I'm fishing with 35-pound whisker seeker, high visibility braided line. I just have a bobber stop on here. I have a little cheap styrofoam slip bobber, a little bitty split shot weight, and a size 6 4X strong treble hook on the bottom. Got just enough weight on it to make that bobber stand up, and that's it. It's a really, really simple rig. Let's put it back out there again and see if we can get another one. Fixing to, come on, baby. There we go. Another good, solid fish. These channel catfish bite really, really light. So you have to really, really pay attention to what you're doing. And you'll see here, a lot of people, when they think about catfishing, they think about just throwing the bait out there and putting a fishing rod in a rod holder, but I'll catch 15 times or more fish holding the rod, fishing with one rod versus fishing with multiple rods and trying to use the rod holders. Okay, get it back in there again. They're biting pretty quick. Usually just about the time that bobber settles on the water, I'm getting bit. Hadn't been taking very long at all, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. So there we go, there we go. Oh, there we go, it's on. It is on, another good one there. That right there, these have all been real solid fish. They have to be 12 inches here in Texas to keep, and there's not a one of these that has even been close to being short. So that's really good. That's another good solid keeper fish right there. So I talked a little bit about this equipment earlier, using this little slip bobber rig, 35-pound braided line. I like to make sure that I use this braid because fishing up in this cover that's so heavy like this, you really got to be able to horse those fish out fast, get them out of that timber and everything, and then the braid helps if you hang up to be able to get your rigs free. You won't lose as many rigs. You'll be able to keep your baits in the water. Going right back up there again. I'm already getting bit. It hadn't been in the water 3 seconds. There we go. Uh-oh, that one's running on me. Another good quality fish. Just one right after another, man. As fast as you can get that bait in the water, they're biting, and all good quality fish. You're probably not going to catch any 40, 50, 60 pound catfish fishing like this, but if you want to get out, have a jam-packed day of action, this is a great option. Channel catfish are great to eat. A lot of fun to catch a few, keep a few for the table. Let me put this one back in the water here. So this bait that I'm fishing with is, it's called punch bait. That's a generic term for the type of bait, and it gets its name by the process that you use to bait a hook. It sticks to a plain treble hook. You don't have to have a sponge or a tube or a worm or anything like that. And you just punch the hook down into the bait with a stick or screwdriver and then pull it back out, and it sticks to the hook. And it is deadly for catching channel catfish. Lots of numbers. If they won't bite on punch bait, they're not going to bite. There's a lot of great brands of punch bait out there. I'm using CJ's today, but there's a lot of other ones out there. As long as you get a good quality bait that's going to stick to that hook, you'll be able to catch channel catfish like this. Fish just swirled right here, just a few feet off from my bobber. There we go, I'm getting bit again. Oh man, that's a lot of fun. I love it. I love catching big monster catfish, but I could sit here like this and catch these. Ooh, man. Catch these good 2, 3, 4, 5 pound channel cat like this all day long. They just pound for pound, they fight harder than any other species of catfish. They're tough, ornery fish. Look at that. Another good quality box fish. I'm going to get this one back in the water here. Get baited up. See if I can hook another one. I'm going to lose a fishing rod here in a minute, as thick as these fish are. That's the second one when I've hung that bait over the side of the boat after taking a fish off. I've seen a fish down there messing with it. I will rebait with that punch bait every single time that I throw out. Don't be stingy with it. A lot of people, you know, they'll pull it up and say, oh, there's enough bait on there. Load that hook up good, because load that hook up good, because it'll help you catch more fish. Here we go. Here we go. It's getting bit again. Almost. Come on. Come back. There we go. Woo! They're feisty. Come on to me. Make sure. Woo, Lordy. Almost got me. Make sure that you load that hook up good and keep plenty of bait on that hook, because when it hits that water and it starts to break down, it's going to help draw those fish in, and you'll catch a lot more fish. It'll keep them coming. If you watch what I'm doing here, you know, fishing up in this heavy cover like this, I'm not casting. This is a real lightweight rig. There's not a lot of weight to it, so it's hard to cast accurately. I'm almost just like flipping. So I'm just letting some line out, taking the slack up here in my left hand, just kind of plopping it out there in the water so I can get it right in that precise place. Here we go, here we go. Seconds. Seconds, man. Good quality fish. It's a lot of lakes where you'll have to weed through 10 or 15 short fish to catch good quality fish like this. And again, these are good quality channel catfish for Texas. There's other parts of the country where they may not be. But I've fished with these techniques all over the United States where there's channel catfish and caught them fishing exactly this way, up in this flooded timber, flooded willow trees, just any kind of heavy cover. They're gonna be in there. And look at this, look at this. So, I said a minute ago that I wasn't gonna do this, but let me put this first fish back in the water. So I caught that fish and took it off the hook and laid my rod down right here off the side of the boat, and the bait fell back in the water. There's just a little bit of punch bait on there. And while I was recording that segment, holding that fish, another catfish bit right here with that bait just dangling, and it fishing rod caught on the back of my sandals. That's what kept it from flying in the water. All right. Seemed to have slowed down a little bit. There we go. Another one on. That took all of about 5 seconds. This one's pulling drag a little bit. I got my drag pretty loose though. Just one after another, catching them up in this flooded timber, flooded vegetation on this punch bait.